How can we be better for our patients?
The digital tool that we find that chiropractors should incorporate in their practice would be an EHR, which is an electronic health record system. It's a buzzword that's really popular in the US now and becoming more mainstream here in Canada. And it encompasses many different aspects, from note-taking to scheduling and billing to patient education. And one of the major components would be the record keeping, which is becoming a hot topic. And chiropractors really should be implementing a system that will allow them to do notes efficiently, but not only efficiently, quickly and complete. And we find that doctors that are writing their notes specifically on travel cards sometimes take shortcuts that are not compliant with regulations. And by implementing an EHR system, you become more compliant with your note-taking.
I think as a chiropractor and a primary healthcare provider, we should be responsible to be able to advise patients correctly on bone support products and joint support products. So I think it is our responsibility to be able to advise on things such as glucosamine, using that to provide joint support, and there's strong studies and research to support this. So I think it's prudent for us to be able to pass that information to our patients and to be able to offer a solid recommendation on how to use a product like that. Calcium and vitamin D and vitamin K and how they're important to bone support, building bone. I think that, again, we would be responsible to advise our patients on how to use those products appropriately. That is our specialty, it is our niche. We should be able to advise correctly on this.
The biggest thing that I would always recommend to any chiropractor is it doesn't really matter which technique they start with, but that they should be very proficient in that specific technique. So whether it be Thompson, Nuka, it really doesn't matter what technique it is that they start with. Whatever they choose at first, they should know the ins and outs of that technique, be a master at it, and own it. That being said, that should never be the only tool that they have in their toolbox. They should always be looking and educating themselves in other techniques to continuously add to their own specific skill. So if someone is a master at activator, that's a fantastic technique, but that's not going to have all the answers. You should have a good Nuka background. You should have Thompson. You should have Diversify. You should have Gonstead, because those other tools are going to make you a better chiropractor overall.
What a doctor can do is listen for one thing and hang on to it and let everything else go, because that one thing on Monday they should be able to apply in their practice. So you're listening, all this data is coming at you, you may be taking notes, but when you hear something that you could possibly use, stop taking notes and listen and try to learn as much as you can. Raise your hand and ask questions about it. How did you use that in your practice, doctor? Or tell me a story about how that works out. And on Monday, you won't have to refer back to your notes. You'll have a patient come in and you'll be surprised. But a patient will come in and have exactly that thing that you need, that you learned that day, because you took the time to learn something.
We should always be more open-minded, always looking to learn. People have said that I was an expert in technique. I would never call myself an expert in anything. I would always call myself a student in technique. I try to learn as much as I possibly can, and I'm very aware that I don't have all the answers. I'm looking constantly to improve, trying to understand what is best to serve my patients.
The idea is to find the gems and hang on to them and let the other things go by.
Today's day and age, we not only, we always think internally as chiropractors, we think from the inside out, and we promote our practices from the inside out. We also have to reach out.
I think we have other allied professionals that can take care of other areas, but when it comes to bone support and joint support, we really are the experts.